is a way to reverse sexual trauma. In this video, I'm not going to only show you how to reverse sexual trauma, but that you can actually use it for your empowerment. Hi, I am LILITH, and in this video, I want to talk about a very taboo subject, and that is rape victims, sexual abuse, and sexual trauma transmutation. The transformation of sexual energy into power. If you like my videos, please subscribe and share, and comment below if you had any sort of sexual trauma in your life. It could be really anything. You don't have to share your sexual trauma. Just give me something to connect with. I want to connect with you. I want to know if this also inspired you, if you had any ideas. Share anything with me, guys. So again, subscribe to my videos also, because this is part 1 of a series. I'm going to do a sexual trauma. There's going to be video 2 and 3 also. I just wanted to make them shorter and more concise. So hit the notification bell so you will be notified for the next ones if this is something that interests you. All right, so let's begin with a simple, basic truth. So our bodies are electromagnetic. They are electromagnetic vehicles, and we transmit and we receive information all the time. When we're awake, when we're asleep, all the fucking time. So our bodies basically are, they basically store emotions inside of them. And emotions are just energy in motions. Emotions are energy. Everything is energy in this universe. So the emotions we have and that we store in our bodies, which we're going to talk about in the form of trauma, they are energy, and it's energy that's really stuck in our bodies. So trauma doesn't, what is trauma? What is sexual trauma? It doesn't have to be just rape, even though that is one form of horrible sexual trauma. But when we say yes when we want to say no, and many of us have been there, many of us, especially women, when we are spoken to in a nasty way and we're not ready for it, we don't want to hear it, when we are in an abusive relationship, when we are ashamed for our sexual desires or preferences, that causes trauma. So sexual trauma can be either physical or emotional or spiritual even. So all the emotions that arise from experiences like these are stored in our bodies, and they create trauma. Whether it be big or small, it doesn't matter. It's still trauma for the emotional and physical body. So whether it is rape or having sex when we don't want to, like we said before, whether it is your priest or your rabbi telling you that, your sexual desires are going to bring you to hell, that is absolute sexual abuse. And that's, it's even child abuse when done when you're a child. But more on that in another video. If you guys know me, you know I have a lot to say about religion. Okay, so when we are in this fight or flight experiences, we usually freeze. We have that reaction of being frozen. That's true, especially for women. This is a very natural mechanism to deal with the situation that we feel helpless and defenseless in. And like when we are being raped, so our emotional body, when our body freezes, that is connected to our emotional body. So our emotional body also freezes. Most of us have been taught also that we can't express our emotions, that we shouldn't express our emotions. Men and women, both in our society. And, we've been taught that we're too emotional, too crazy, don't be a pussy. All these, there's endless of these expressions, unfortunately. So these traumatic emotions, when happen and we can't express them even outside, they become stale and they get stuck in our bodies. So after a long time, it affects the physical body as well. And you can have issues with sex itself, or having an orgasm or climax, or even health issues. And you can create, some people even create their physical look because of a sexual trauma. So for example, some women will gain weight subconsciously. They just, whatever they do, you know, even if they eat good or whatever, they will gain weight to protect themselves. Or some women are going to decide that they're going to wear all black and all long sleeves and not show any part of their skin because they want to kind of feel protected. And every person can do it differently. But that's one way of, for example, expressing yourself through the trauma. But that's not really expressing yourself. It's the trauma expressing itself through you. And we're going to talk about more on that in a bit. So what happens when we carry sexual trauma, or trauma really? So holding the trauma within our physical and our emotional bodies create patterns in it. And it creates a mask, sometimes a few masks. Sometimes the moment of trauma creates such a big split in us that it creates a few different personas in us, not just one. And really, most human beings on the planet, we all have this like multiple personality disorder. It's not just what you see in the movies or, you know, doctors, you know, prescribe this, how do you say it, to like some people. It's just most of the humans on the planet right now, if not all of us, we all carry some sort of trauma, which creates a split, which creates a pattern, which creates a persona that we wear, a mask that we wear some of the time or all of the time sometimes. Depends on the trauma. So it's like, it's this like separate persona that was created in the time of the trauma in order to protect us. So our subconscious really just wants to protect us. It doesn't do it on purpose. So when we carry all this past trauma, we can't even fully be in the present moment also, because we're constantly being held by that piece of the past, by that moment, by that trauma, and it's pulling on us. And as we know, sexual energy is also creation energy, it's expression, it's life force energy. So sexual trauma can really destroy your life force energy and destroy your true expression and creation as a human being. Not to mention that it destroys relationships, and it destroys your sexual connection, and it destroys your ability to create and to really have a sacred sexual union with another being. You can fuck many people and you can like, you know, be a very wild sexual person. That doesn't mean you actually know how to have sex. And unfortunately, most people on the planet, that's how they have sex. And this is why we have such destruction in the world. I say we are all just like broken, traumatized children in adult bodies trying to make it through life. So I know I'm laughing, but it's not really funny. It's just sexual trauma and, you know, using sex in the right way can change the world. And this is my whole point of teaching in this channel and the Sex Magic School. All right. Another thing that sexual trauma does, it clogs your vessel. And those of you who follow me know that when I say vessel, I mean your physical body. This is our vessel. It blocks your full expression. So it's, you know, your body, your physical body and energetic body are connected, like we said. So it clogs your energetic body. It will clog your physical body as well. Yeah. So sexual trauma, it can come, like we said, in many shapes and colors. And we are such complicated creatures, you know, as human beings. And it's not just black or white. And shame and guilt are the main emotions that get stuck within the body due to sexual trauma. So these, when I, for example, work with people, I try to really deal with shame and guilt mainly, and anger. Anger, of course, comes up a lot, but shame and guilt are kind of like the core of what you want to work on with sexual trauma. And again, in the next videos, I will talk about ways to work with the sexual trauma exactly. So stay tuned. And then if anyone wants to work with me directly, please feel free to contact me. So when a parent tells their kid, for example, you know, if a parent sees their child masturbate and they tell them, you're going to go to hell for touching yourself and for masturbating, that is insane sexual trauma. Okay. And that's going to fuck up a child for the rest of their life. And it can happen in many ways. You know, when a child knows that they are dirty and bad and they will go to hell with demons that will kill them and burn them forever, you know, if they touch themselves, it's insane damage. So, you know, or if you were exposed, obviously, if you were exposed to a lot of sexual abuse when you were a child, if you saw sexual abuse around you happen to other people, that is also, I mean, we are all connected, and especially a child. A child is in such an innocent state of with his subconscious mind that when he sees someone else being abused or tortured, they take that pain and that trauma onto themselves immediately, naturally. So that can cause trauma as well. Now I want to talk about, I know it's true that women, we definitely have a lot more sexual trauma done to us by men in this society. I don't care what people say, that is the reality. It is the reality. But I want to talk about men for a second, because we know that those who create trauma, okay, in the world, not just sexual trauma, any trauma, are basically traumatized beings themselves. So I want to talk about men. And, you know, because men are those who, not all men, obviously. We're talking about gender, doing harm to one gender, again, in a general, and one more thing about me, guys, those of you who know me, you know that I am not, I don't like all this political correctness shit. So it is what it is. You know, you guys can, a lot of people are going to be, how do you say? Going to be insulted that I said that. But men cause more sexual trauma to women on our society. It's just, it is what it is. But I want to talk about men in the sense of they go through sexual abuse as well. And not as much as women do, and not in the same collective energy that women go through, in the same, but they do. And women have trauma from men themselves, but men carry sexual trauma from other men as well. And most men on the planet have gone through sexual abuse, severe sexual abuse. And we call it circumcision. Yes, circumcision is a horrific sexual abuse done to men when they are babies, sometimes when they're older, sometimes when they're in their teens even, or sometimes even older than teens. It's horrific, okay? And most people don't want to talk about it because it's so, it just annoys me so much, you know, because it's circumcision is such a, even in my country, you know, it's such a regular everyday thing, you know, it's even a celebration, you know, when it's done as babies for boys who have been born. So this is absolute sexual abuse. And it causes trauma in such a deep place in the subconscious mind of men. And in the first state, like they just came out of the womb. They came out of the most sacred, safe, loving space of the Divine Mother. And then they come out to the world and their masculinity just like completely is being literally cut off. And I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is the dark masculine world society that we are living in. Okay, it's not even a masculine society. It's a dark masculine society where the divine masculinity has been destroyed. So most men have seen the, also another reason another thing I want to talk about men and sexual trauma is that a lot of men grew up watching other men, other adult men around them abusing women and treating women, not even just, it doesn't have to be just raping or sexually abusing women, but speaking about women in disrespectful ways sexually. So a lot of these young men, young boys, they either go to one of the extreme. They would either choose to become the monster that they see, that they're so afraid of. So they will become one of these men. Or they're going to go to the other extreme and they're going to not want to be that monster so much that they're going to let go of every part of their masculinity, and that includes their divine masculinity, which we need. So, you know, some men are going to even go to the extreme. Not all, but these are some cases of men who will go to the other extreme and become so feminine, that there's nothing of their masculinity even left. So, so that's also another thing that happens with men and sexual abuse. And we must remember that the divine masculine is magnificent. And we as women, waking up to our power now, we have to encourage men to see their divinity and empower their divine masculinity. So we will no longer empower the dark masculine. We have to stop it. We have to stop empowering and feeding the dark masculine force and also the dark feminine force. It's time to really awaken the divinity in both genders so we can have a divine union. So let's talk about sexual transmutation. So let me just have a little sip here. So sexual trauma is, of course, a very taboo subject, like many subjects on our planet, especially talking about using trauma and be empowered by it. That's, like, who talks about that? You can actually use your trauma and, become a powerful person from it. Mostly when people talk about sexual trauma, they do so with the sense of complete powerlessness and victimhood, but I want to give you a different perspective that will leave you empowered right now. So in my programs and sessions, I do work with men and women on all levels to go deeper and transmute all the sexual energy and all the trauma into full power. But I wanted to give this information in these video series because it's so important right now. Like, I don't want people to come and do my programs. Like, people need to know this right now. So I just wanted to get this out. Of course, it's always helpful to work with someone, especially with sexual trauma, and you need that help from an external person that you trust. But I at least wanted to give you the truth about sexual trauma so you can start empowering yourself today, because we need it. So, we need women to really be in their most powerful state of being right now. I mean, women are going to be the leaders of the new world. We are. So we got to step up. So we women are also the leaders of sexual energy. And we're the ones who direct and transmute and guide the sexual union and the flow of sexual energies. It's not the men. Okay? So, like, the dark masculine in the world have wanted us to believe this whole time. So the fact is that the woman is the one with all the power in the sexual act. I will repeat that. The woman is the one with the full power in the sexual act, even if she's being raped. Yes. So I know this is very radical. Some people are, especially women, might even hate me for saying this, because for some it still serves them to stay in the victimhood mentality, which I totally get. But I want you to truly hear what I'm saying, okay? I am not blaming women for being sexually abused or raped. No woman is to blame. No person is to blame for being sexually abused. There is no excuse for sexual abuse at all. Ever to anyone. But what I am saying is that once you understand the power that women have in the sexual act, which is what I'm teaching in the Sex Magic School, and the natural power we have with sexual energy, you will see that no matter what trauma or sexual experiences you had, you can control, manipulate, and even reverse sexual trauma. Okay? So a woman that is connected to her womb, to the power of her womb, and to the Divine Mother, and to her true power as a woman, has the potential and the ability to fully control. Yes, I am using the word control, And I have another video on that from a long time ago if you want to check it. How to control a man's energy, which is not what you think. Just watch it. So she has the ability to fully control the man's energy, and even to manipulate his reality. So if a man sexually abuses a woman, and again, I'm using men and women because that's what happens mostly. I know this is the situation. I know some of you are not going to like that I'm saying this, but get over it. You have the full power to manipulate not only his sexual energy and flow, but his reality. So again, this is very deep sex temple teaching. Like, this is very deep stuff. Like, this is why I have 2 and 3 months program to just initiate people to sex magic teachings, because this stuff is intense. Okay. And not everyone is ready for this. So I'm not going to pour it all out there not because I don't want to share it. Trust me, I want to share it with everyone, but not everyone is ready for it. So you really have to be ready for this information. So, a woman must be fully ready for this knowledge, but all women are ready to face the truth that, you have the power. This is the age of truth, and we can't stop it anymore. Okay. We do not need to stop it. Now, sexual trauma, transmutation is real. It's a real thing. It is very ancient, forgotten knowledge. And it's simple, but we don't do it because we don't know how to do it and we don't know how to use it. And it's time to really understand the real sexual flow and power. That's why women have been in control a long, long time ago, way before history books don't even tell you that, actually, because they don't, but, because no one even thought about sexually abusing women because we had all the power. They were even afraid of women. Like, women had the full control and men were in complete awe of the feminine power. That's why the sex temple had priestesses and not priests, because the women have been the teachers, the guides, the holders of the sexual union. So I'm going to give you the first step today to begin to prepare yourself. And this is something I talk about all the time. And watch my other videos about sexual trauma, because I'm going to give more tips to begin with. And again, I can't just give you like all the work right away, because you will not be able to handle it. But I can help you prepare yourself to do the work. Okay, so do the work. Don't be lazy. Don't jump. That's why I don't like a lot of Tantra school and Tantra teachers, because they just give people what they want. They give people the easy, fluffy version of sex magic. And that's not what sex magic is. It doesn't empower you. It just gives you just basic stuff. It gives you the surface stuff. Okay. And I want to give you the meat, vegan meat, of course. So talking about vegan meat. So, clean your body, prepare your body, your vessel. Okay, we talked about this. Your vessel of light from any poisons, clean it from any poisons, prepare it. So eat only plant-based foods. Better raw if possible in the beginning, then you can start eating cooked food just when you're cleansing your body. I even like to do coffee enemas. When people do my programs with me, I make them do coffee enemas. They fucking love it. It's great. Just because when you're preparing your vessel, you got to clean all that shit out that's been stuck in your body since, all the crap that you've been eating since you were a child, basically. So clean water, be in nature as much as you can, get as much sunlight as you can without putting any chemicals on your skin. So important. Do not block yourself from the sun, please. If you get burned easily, don't be in the sun too much. Be in the sun 10, 20 minutes a day, but get some sun. Don't wear also sunglasses. Start getting used to getting more natural sun. Okay. And so again, start preparing your vessel. You can watch my other sex magic video to kind of like give you a basic of the teaching and understanding the basics of sex magic school and the sex magic at all, which is understanding the masculine and the feminine and the polarities of the energies in the light and the dark of the masculine and feminine. And that would give you a very, very clear basis to the rest of the teachings. So yeah, I love you. Stay tuned for the next videos on sexual trauma. If you have any questions, comments, please comment down below. And if you want to work with me, you're always welcome. And yeah, I love you so much. I'm a servant of the Mother, and I pray for the awakening of all men, women, and children on planet Earth. Thank you.